Hi, everybody. Bernie Shung here, back for another episode of Shin Kicking Mondays. Thank you for joining me for another awesome Monday. I want to talk about a buzzword that has been going around quite a bit over the past few months, if not years. And it's really funny, it's come up quite a bit in conversations as well. And so instead of talking about it behind the scenes, I want to share my view here, and it's going to echo a lot of the things I've already discussed with a lot of people one-on-one. But you're probably wondering what this word is. And I don't think you'll be surprised when you find out what it is. I'm talking about the word authenticity, or being authentic. And the reason it bothers me so much that this conversation around authenticity has been thrown around isn't so much that there's anything wrong with being authentic, and I'm not somebody who's that defiant and likes to pick on the fact that certain words are used quite a bit in the social media vernacular. But what I've been hearing quite a bit lately from folks is that there are some people out there trying to sell strategies and training and other different opportunities to their customers on how to be more authentic. And I don't think that there's technically anything wrong with positioning your product as such, but I don't believe that authenticity is really something that we can teach in A to Z type of ebook. Authenticity takes a lot more time. Authenticity is a craft that you hone over time. It doesn't happen overnight. And so today I want to talk about telling the truth. I feel like the word authenticity is being thrown around so much, just like words that we've discussed here before, like transparency or vulnerability, or even, the life coach post I wrote last year that went viral, and how even the phrase life coaching has been thrown around so much that I don't even like using that term to describe the work I do. And such as that, authenticity is one of those things. So let's talk about telling the truth. Why is that important to tell the truth? And let's first start by talking about the distinction between telling the truth and being authentic. Because I think they're pretty much interchangeable, but I like the way telling the truth sounds because it's something that we all can do, and it's something that we're all very well capable of. And if we were to practice that on a daily basis, I don't think it's something that I can teach you through a newsletter, or I can teach you through my ebook or a product or service that I sell you. I think it's something that we inherently know, and it's a matter of putting to practice what we already know, applying the tools we've already learned through life. And telling the truth is one of those things I believe every single one of us as human beings has learned. Now, maybe we haven't learned it quite as well as other people in our lives. For example, if you grew up in an environment where lying was the way to go, but I do believe we know the difference between lying and telling the truth. So for me, being authentic, having authenticity, is about being able to tell the truth no matter how hard it is. Now, I definitely was somebody who lied quite a bit when I was young. And what person didn't, right? What child hasn't lied to their parents growing up? I wrote in my newsletter this past Sunday that I had the tendency to lie so much that I almost drowned to death in a pool. My best friend and I went swimming in her neighbor's pool when I was 12. And my friend asked me if I knew how to swim. I said yes. I said I took some lessons at the YMCA. And so a couple of minutes later, she jumps into the deep end of the pool, knocks over my air mattress, and I start drowning. I have no idea at that point really how long it was that I was submerged underneath the water, but it felt like forever. And all I could think to myself in that moment was, holy crap, she really thinks I can swim. Lucky for me, my friend actually took rescue swimming classes the week before at the YMCA, so she knew how to save my life, and she did. And even after she saved my life, you guys, I still kept lying. I kept going on and on about this lie to cover up the lie. And I didn't want her to find out that I didn't know how to swim, and even greater, that I had lied to her to begin with. And so she asked me again about those swimming classes, and I told her, oh yeah, maybe I should take more classes. And she said, yeah, great idea. I think you should take intermediate swimming lessons. Even though I had a feeling she knew that I was lying. But I didn't call myself out, and she was nice enough to not call me out. And I never took those swimming lessons. Several years later, I got married. I actually didn't learn to swim technically until I was about 20 years old. And then I learned how to swim much better than just treading water around 24. So being able to admit that I couldn't do something nearly took my life, you guys. And we hear those stories all the time about how people are so afraid of death itself. When in reality, when you think about all the times you look back and you realize why you lied for so long, or why you maybe embellished the truth a little bit, I think at the end of the day, the fear wasn't so much that we were afraid we were going to die. I think the fear was being afraid of being found out, that we really aren't that great, or that we really don't have what it takes to make it, to be a part of the in crowd, right? Lying for me when I was 12 was letting my friend know that, oh yeah, of course I took swim classes. What kid at this age who goes to our school doesn't? Because my lie was covering up the fact that my parents didn't have money to put me in swim classes. And my lie was covering up the fact that I was different than everybody else, because everybody else knew how to swim at 12 and I didn't. And that lie covered up all of the other lies, because I had been lying for so long that I didn't want to be found out for all of the things I'd been keeping from my friends and from the people who I wanted to be a part of, in terms of that group, in terms of feeling like I was good enough, in terms of feeling like I belonged. And as I said in my newsletter yesterday, I didn't want to stick out like a sore thumb, because when you're 12, obviously, there's something seriously wrong about standing out and being different and being unique and being in a class all your own. It's not really congratulated during that time in your life. It's not really a place where you want to be by yourself. And so the lies covered up the lies, which covered up the fact that I really was different and I didn't belong. And it's taken me many, 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 many years. Now I'm 37. But the more and more I practiced telling the truth, the more I was able to hone that craft, as I call it, the art and the science, if you will, of telling the truth more. And what I mean by telling the truth, I'm not saying go out there and be all TMI and tell everybody what I ate today, or, you know, what happened to the bathroom when I woke up this morning. I mean, that's taking telling the truth to a whole new level. What I'm talking about is telling the truth in terms of, if you have something important to say, say it. If you feel that something is wrong or you object, speak up. If you see something that doesn't agree with you, or that you can't stand for, and maybe somebody's potentially in danger, including yourself, then stand up, walk out. You know, make it known, make your stance known. And I know it's not easy at first. It's scary as hell to stand out. It's scary as hell to speak up. But that's the only way, you guys. That is the only way you can begin to start changing your world. And notice, I didn't say changing the world. I said changing your world. Because you can't go out and change the world unless you can't come to terms with what's happening in your own. And you've got to get better at improving the areas of your life that are dragging you down, that are holding you back, that are keeping you stuck in that place where you feel like it's not going to matter if I show up today. Or who cares what I say or do? Nobody's going to be here anyway to read it or look at it or buy it. All of these excuses that we make, it's ourselves that hold ourselves back. The self-sabotage. That's what's playing into you not being able to change your world. And if you can't change your world, how the hell do you expect to change anybody else's? So tell the truth because you have some truth to tell. Don't build that into some grandiose strategy for your business or your marketing plan like people tell you to. Don't go buying a $47 manual on 7 steps to be more authentic. That's just ridiculous, you guys. Just start telling the truth. That's how I did it. And it gets easier and easier the more and more you practice these things. You become addicted to telling the truth. You fall back in love with yourself and your life because you're unapologetically like you. And there's no reason to feel like there's anything wrong with being perfectly imperfect. And when I look back and I realize all of those things that I used to be so embarrassed of, if anybody ever found out, or the things that I felt that held me back for so long before I finally got to a place where I started to own some of these perceived deficiencies. If these things didn't happen to me, you guys, I wouldn't have stories to tell. Tell in a speech, to tell in a book that I write, or to share in my newsletters on Sundays. I wouldn't be very interesting because I wouldn't have experiences to share and I wouldn't be relatable to you. So I've become addicted to telling the truth because it makes me more human. It makes me more resonant with all of you. And it feels damn good, you guys, from a very intrinsic and cathartic standpoint. It feels so good to be able to just be myself wholeheartedly, poofy hair and, not that great in front of the camera. And I can go on and on about all of the reasons why I've been afraid all these years to speak up and to stand out. But these are all the reasons especially why I have been more and more motivated and inspired to do it, because I don't feel that I was built for it. I don't feel like this leadership role that I've taken was a natural thing I was born into. In fact, I was the baby in my family. Telling the truth was definitely not something that I've done for a very long time. I did the opposite of that for a very long time until I got to a place where it got me in so much trouble. So many of the things that I'm doing today that have me completely fulfilled in my life about helping people, other brave bears like me who have been afraid to own these things that we've been wanting to talk about, but we're afraid we'd be judged, or to be able to dig my heels in this corner of the world that I'm in and rub elbows with amazing people who are doing some really major things in the world, changing the world, and helping it to be a more positive place than when I came into it. I mean, the things that I get to see, the things that I get to do, the things I get to be a part of in helping to change this world I live in wouldn't be possible if I didn't begin my own journey towards changing me, myself, and my world. And it all started with telling the truth. And I know that can be subjective. Where do we start and where do we stop with this whole telling the truth thing, right? And I really believe that's for you to gauge. I don't think I really have a good best practices benchmark for that. But tell the truth because it's therapeutic and it makes you feel better. It heals you. whatever you're going through. Tell the truth because you definitely have something to say that's so important and you'd regret if you didn't say it. Tell the truth because there's so many people around you that you're talking to, but nobody's stepping up or standing out to own that thing that we all know is true. Tell the truth because you can, not because anybody told you to, but because you chose to tell the truth. And however you want to tell the truth, whether it's in a public forum like this, whether it's in your private journal, whether it's to a good friend, however you choose to facilitate that act of telling the truth is totally, totally cool. I don't think there's an activity too great or small. When you're telling the truth, period, it becomes a routine thing and it becomes a daily practice. And next thing you know, you become addicted to it. And then you find yourself being a very authentic voice. That's how you tell the truth. That's how you end up being authentic. You're not going to get it out of some quick guide to learning how to be more authentic, and you're not going to get it from a training that teaches you the steps on authenticity. It starts with you, and it starts today. And you can do it right now, and it's free. So there you go, guys. This is something that's really near and dear to me because it took me 25 years from that moment I drowned to publish my very first book, The Year of the Brave Bear. And as many of you know, I published that just a couple of weeks ago, feeling so relieved that the book that I've been meaning to write intentionally since 2011 finally found its final chapters to put the book on the shelf. And I'm so excited about it because I had no idea that the book would be about telling the truth and telling my truth and how I learned to speak up, stand out, and change the world. And if that's something you want to read about, if that's something you want to check out, cool, awesome, go get it. It's called The Year of the Brave Bear. You can find it on Amazon or on my website at bravebearbook.com. Otherwise, if you never pick up that book, and if I never talk to you again, know this. You already have everything you need to begin telling the truth. And it starts today. But for those of you who will continue to join me in the Brave Bear Revolution, for those of you who know me well, you've stuck around for quite a bit, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support. And thank you for continuing to show up and do this amazing work with me. We need more brave bears like you. So let's make a pact and let's start doing all of this stuff today, this week. It starts today, this Monday. Let's start telling the truth together. All right, folks, thank you again for another amazing episode of Shin Kicking Mondays. You can find me here every Monday at noon. 12 Central Standard Time at bernieshung.com/live. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.